Welcome to Between State Lines.
Welcome back to Between State Lines, episode 30, freaking 8. And as promised, your boy is unemployed. He was canned this week. Adios, amigo.
I mean, I think that it's going to be really good for you as soon as things line up how they should.
I agree, although, so I had an FSA and I had $2,500 in it at the beginning of the year, and I've only spent like $400 on like just medical stuff. And I thought I had to the end of the month, and I misread it and said you have until the end of your last day, and I was like, fuck. So I hopped on Amazon and bought $2,000 worth of diaper cream, Band-Aids, like Aquaphor, sunscreen. I got 2 Aura rings, which have been pretty sweet, pretty awesome. But it was like I was panicking and I didn't realize how much I bought. So I literally have, I sent you a picture, but I have like probably 30 boxes of Band-Aids, which is an insane amount of Band-Aids.
Yeah. May you never need more Band-Aids. Although it's kind of hard with kids because my kids love Band-Aids. Like we get all of the different ones. If they're on clearance, I get them. And then, yeah, they go through them still like crazy. So, but may you never need them.
May I never need. Yeah, I was like panicking. I was like, I have 4 hours. I wanted it to charge the card on that day, not like leak over to the next day and then like dispute it or whatever. I was like, I need to get this done today. And so just flying through Amazon at.
Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing.
It was fun. I'm still waiting on like a reimbursement for like $400, but I think that'd be fine. But that was my week. My week was fun. And then I'm pretty sure your kid was sick, and I'm pretty sure it through the phone it like transferred to my daughter because she threw up today, and she was sick.
Oh,
So
awesome.
I'm putting that on your family.
Yeah, that's fine. We'll take the blame for it. I don't really understand the sickness and like no other symptoms for my daughter at all. She just would puke once a day. And at one point I was like, is she conning me? Because the kid loves Tylenol. Like loves Tylenol. Like she'll fake cough and then be like, I need Tylenol. And so she's like, my tummy hurts. I think I need some Tylenol. And I was like, no. And then, yeah, she'd just wake up, puke once, not have to go to school. So I think that now she's like, if I puke, I don't have to go to school.
She's in her room, like cramming her finger down her throat and make herself puke.
Who knows? It was like 5:00 in the morning. I ran in there, and after she puked, she had so much energy. She was having the time of her life. I was tired and straight up not having a good time. And like Wednesday, I was supposed to have the day off of work. I was going to send both my kids to school, take a couple hours to like get things done, do parent teacher conferences, pick up my son. Oh, I was going to have breakfast with my son and have some like special time. And then my daughter was sick, and I was like, well, that ruins that. So my uncle took my son for some like special breakfast, and he had such a great time, but I had to stay home with my daughter.
It's freaking kids. That is pretty funny though about the Tylenol. I need Tylenol.
Oh, she's like constantly trying to, and which is hilarious because she was the baby that if you gave her Tylenol, she just vomited everywhere. Like they gave me like an anti-nausea thing because she would not take Tylenol as a baby.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Yeah. It was
These
great though.
these feral kids.
Yeah. I don't know what's up with these kids, but none of it makes any sense. I'm just glad I'm not the only one. Everybody's been talking about how like their family's sick with something. Several people at my work are like, "Oh, I just have a forever cough." It's just a forever cough.
Yeah, she's had a forever
Now we
cough.
take emergency. like a shot at the end of the day, nearly every day at work.
You're just boosting all of your immunity to hopefully keep you healthy at some point.
I don't know. Shout out to my coworker Aaron for getting the emergency and constantly offering it up. I got him well, I had extra cups from the dollar store from one of my friends, and I had them on my desk, and we were like, oh, we need cups for this. So now we have like our, they're random dollar store cups. So it's like, this is a multiple cup kind of day, or they just say like funny, silly things. And yeah, me, Aaron, my sister, we all have our own cups. We cheers with the emergency every day. Thank you, Aaron. He promised to listen someday, so.
Well, Aaron, if you were listening, we thank you for keeping Stephanie healthy and on the podcast.
Yeah, because I haven't been sick with whatever these kids have, although I'd like that energy boost. Be nice.
Also my daughter, every single night, only the nights that I'm on call for her waking up, she knows I'm like a sucker because she'll wake up crying and I go in there and she'll say cuddle, 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 and she'll like quicken the pace. She says it over and over until I say, okay, let's go. But so I brought her in the bed last night, and I'm laying there trying to fall asleep, and I'm like right next to her. And first of all, she like pushes my face away from her. I'm like, you are in my bed. I have no room to go anywhere. And then she's laying there and she starts saying, cheeky boy, cheeky boy, like calling me a cheeky boy. I'm like, what? I started laughing. I'm like, and like I know I should be trying to get her to sleep. I'm like just dying laughing. I'm like, why am I? What am I doing? Laying
Cheeky boy?
here, cheeky boy.
Cheeky boy. I'm like, at least she's talking to you and not somebody like the crack of the ceiling or something.
Dude, I was changing her diaper last night and tonight, and she's laying on the pad, looking at the ceiling, and she says, "Grandma, grandma, grandma," and obviously both her grandmas are alive still, but my grandmother is not alive anymore. So I was like, "Who are you?" I was like, "Are you looking at someone up there? Does she have glasses?" And she's like, "Yeah." And my wife's like, "Oh, you're coaxing her into this. You're like feeding her the questions." I'm like, maybe, but
Yeah. What does grandma look like? Maybe bring out a photo album with a lot of people in it and see if she could pick out grandma.
that's a good idea. That's a good idea. That'd be creepy as
Yeah.
hell. I mean, if it's the one person that's gonna haunt us, I'd rather be my grandmother. So
Yeah, but then I always think, like, is that really your grandma or is that a demon trying to pretend to be somebody? That's the
true.
dangerous thing about reaching out to the other side. You don't know who you're talking to.
That is true. I have seen my fair share of supernatural, so I should come to expect that. So I previously have trashed Moana 2 to you. I've told you it's bad. I want to retract that statement. I watched it today and it's actually really good.
Oh, that's what you were watching earlier? That's what you left
Well, we
Snow White
watched
for?
Moana. Well, we watched the first Moana, and then the second one just played by itself on like as like a next thing, but watched the whole
Wait, you
thing and
own
there's
Moana?
actually no, it's on Disney Plus.
Anyone could just watch it now? I've just been
Yeah.
avoiding it. Like, if it's free, I'll still watch it. I don't care if it's terrible.
Well, it just came out, so you didn't miss it for long. It just came out on Disney Plus.
I've been on Disney Plus the past 2 days. Also, I don't remember having commercials, and the last 2 days I've been getting real annoyed.
Yeah, they're at, and I don't know if you've noticed this, or if you have like an account with like multiple people, but they've also started enforcing the household crap that Netflix does.
Well,
Like,
okay, I have an account that should have at least a sign on from 2 TVs, but I was on my kids' TV playing Coco, and then I played Encanto on my TV, and it stopped Coco. It's like, you can't play two? Just two? That's not even that many.
That's BS. Have you ever heard of the cart narcs? There's a guy in California. He runs a TikTok channel, a YouTube channel, and it's called Cart Narcs. And he'll stand in the parking lot of grocery stores, random grocery stores. And if he sees someone not put their cart away, he'll like stand there giving them a hard time, like jokingly. And if they drive away or try to leave, he puts a magnet on their car that says like lazy bones or like I leave my cart out in the open, like just trolling people. And it pisses people off. And first of all, it is annoying. If it was like it happened to me, I'd be annoyed. But it's just so funny to watch their reactions like get worse and worse and worse as he keeps putting the sticker on their car. And like they stop their car, get out, throw it at him, and then get back in their car. He does it again. And or he'll like fake him out, like fake put the magnet on there and not put it on, and they'll run around looking for it.
I would be so excited if somebody put this on my car. I would take that home. That'd be my souvenir. I'd be like, look, haha, you didn't get it back. This is mine now.
But it's like it's so funny. Like, I mean, again, I get it's annoying and harassment essentially, but like the overreactions, like people like threatened him with like death and like harm. I'm like, that's just so extra for no reason.
Yeah, like I guess people are annoying if they don't like put their carts back, or they're annoying if they park really bad or whatever. I just don't care enough. I don't care enough. Somebody at work like a week ago, she parked her car almost in two spots, and I just remember looking at it and being like, well, that Jeep parked dumb. And I like went to go park next to it, and I was like, better not. And I went and parked somewhere else. And then later on, my boss came out and like called out the person that did it and was like, go repark. I'm like, I guess I just don't care enough. I was like, they did a shit job. I'm not going to park next to them. Let's just move on.
Exactly. Like I'm the same way. I'm like, you know what? I'll look at you and be like, man, you suck, and I'll go somewhere else. But like, yeah, I don't know. But I've been watching those videos and I've been like just dying laughing. Like one guy, he drove down the street to some random person's house, and he put their magnet in their mailbox because he was trying to get rid of it.
They don't want the magnet that bad.
That badly. Like they get so pissed. And I don't know, I'll have to send you a video and you can see how ridiculous the guy is, like giving them a hard time for not parking or putting their carts away, but also like the overreaction.
My God. Yeah, I can't imagine people being that upset about it, that they are trying to get rid of it. Like that would be my souvenir. Like,
Right?
and then that would be my souvenir of how unbothered I am. And you know what? Then I'd feel like I won the day. Although I don't think I park like that. I think I try really, really hard to park like not like a jerk. And I return my cart for the most part, unless there's some reason like I have both my kids, and sometimes I just dump them in the car, lock it, and then walk the cart over while they're getting their seatbelts on, and that works for me. But when they were smaller, I was the worst. Nope. If I have my kids, I'm not going to be 2 feet from this car. So nope. And living in Arizona, I'm like, no, you don't leave kids in the hot car. So nope.
No.
No, I'm not
No.
carrying two across the parking lot.
Is it just me, or have you also been seeing, I don't know how much time you spent on TikTok the last 2 weeks, but like there's this huge influx of videos where people are like, please stay for a minute, please stay for 30 seconds and watch this video so my daughter can get like cancer surgery or whatever. Like, I feel like it's every 3 videos, and I'm like, at first I was like, okay, I'll say 30 seconds and like just like it and like comment, but then it's like every 3 videos now. I'm like, I can't, like, I'm sorry, I can't just watch these videos. Like, what is going on? Like, why?
Yeah, like I start to question like the validity because I don't know. It probably is valid. But I can't have my whole algorithm be that. But I feel like my algorithm right now might even be worse. Because it is a lot of that, and then it's the toothpaste that people are selling,
Oh my
and
god.
then the digestive enzymes that people are selling. Like every other video, like I started putting, I'm not interested. I'm seeing this way too much, and it's still coming up. And I'm not going to buy digestive enzymes. Like I barely take the vitamins that I have in front of me right now.
Is it the is the toothpaste like the no BS toothpaste? Oh my god, I
Yeah.
fucking hate those. I hate those so goddamn much.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm also like a very rich in toothpaste person. Like I have way too much. My kids are like, oh, I want this kind. Oh, I want this kind. Then they fight over the tube, so we have 2 of each one. I'm never going to need toothpaste again. I'm not your audience.
You know, speaking of toothpaste, I one like 2 weeks ago made the mistake of giving my daughter like adult toothpaste just because I was tired and grabbed the wrong tube and realized when it was like super foamy and she was like, it's spicy, it's spicy. But
Yeah.
every
Oh.
single time since then, she's always like, sweet, not spicy, sweet, not like it's never letting me live it down. Like, I know, I'm so sorry. This happened a month ago. I'm so sorry. I'm never gonna live this down.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, like my kids went in for a dental appointment a couple weeks ago, and they gave them like adult travel toothpaste, and both my kids were like, "Oh, I want to use the toothpaste from the dentist," but it was really minty, and my son the first time was like, "It's not that bad," but never wanted to use it again, and my daughter absolutely hates it. But I hear that you're not really supposed, like kids, that's just too harsh for them until they're like 8. And so it starts mellowing out as they get a little bit older.
Mm,
Supposedly.
that
I
makes
don't know.
sense.
Gray used to like minty hot chocolate all the time. So I thought he was the exception, but now he doesn't like mint again. Once you think you know him, they show you you don't.
They show you their true colors. Oh, no.
Mm-hmm.
We have to talk about Trump and the White House lawn being apparently a Tesla dealership. Like, I'm sorry, not Tesla, Tesla dealership. Like, what
Tesla.
the fuck? What the fuck is going on, like, in this country?
I thought somebody was just making fun of something. Is that real? Is this real life?
Right? Like, is this real? Did this really?
Well,
Like,
isn't this the same guy that was like, Democrats want you all to have the electric cars, and he's all talking shit about the electric cars, and then now he's selling electric cars? It's what, you're a terrorist if you don't want an electric car?
well, also makes me laugh is like, there's 2 things. Number one, he like his sales pitch was like, oh, it's only $30,000. Like, okay, bro, your supporters, your cult followers, can't even afford eggs. None of us can afford eggs. Where the fuck are we getting money for a brand new goddamn car? It's not
I
happening,
mean,
dude.
Teslas, I have heard that they went on like a super special, like everybody and their mother in this area was buying them because it was like $100 down or something. And you could have a Tesla. So I think that they haven't been doing so hot for a lot longer than we expected them, and now yeah, they're really tanking.
Which is a
Yeah,
good thing. Which is amazing. I
yeah,
love it. I'd love to see it.
they're so ugly. I hate seeing so many of them on the road right now. I saw a Cybertruck the other day, and I was just like, it's so ugly. Have you seen the
I
video where she's like, I need to see your Cybertruck face? Ugh.
I I see them a lot out here, and it's always like the obviously the hardcore conservatives. I they're so ugly and they're so stupid looking, and like when it snows, they have that in the lights. They have the like the indented lights, so the snow just piles up and blocks the light altogether. So they have to like stop the car, clear out this fucking headlight. Otherwise, they don't have part of their lights working. I'm like, this is a stupidly designed car that looks dumb as fuck that you paid a lot of
Yeah,
money for.
yeah. I honestly thought that it was only popular with the kids because it looked like something that you'd probably have in Minecraft.
Yes.
Like I thought that's why kids like them. I don't know why old white guys do.
Oh, but did you also notice that Biden or not Biden, Trump in his spiel, he's like looking at the car. He's like, "Do you think Biden can get in one of these? Do you think Biden could drive this?" I don't think so. I'm like, dude, Biden is not even in your life anymore. Like, why are you still talking about him? Like, he
He
doesn't
just that's
matter
his
anymore.
forever enemy. He can't even be president again, so leave him alone. He's just yes, old man, but you too, old man.
I feel like they're like destined to uh be besties, kind of like Crowley in Supernatural and Castiel in Supernatural. They're just like best friends, but they're enemies.
Yeah. Yeah, I was thinking it's like in The Good Place. I finally finished it. When they're sent to the one and it's like the devil or the demons picked out people who were like making it the worst place ever for them. Yeah, that's what it feels like.
So what did you think of the ending of The Good Place now that you're done with it?
I was really confused, so I watched it twice. Yeah, I was really confused. So because then I was like, so they aren't in the good place? The good place might be when you return to the matter of everything. I don't know. It I think I was way too delirious, but I needed to finish it. Yeah.
Do you think that when they leave the good place there and like kind of like dissipate into the universe, they are like reborn, or do you think they're gone forever? Like not reborn in like their bodies, but like a different bodies.
I think that they become part of the universe. So maybe in a sense they get reborn, but like parts of them kind of dissipate. So maybe somebody will be born and they'll have parts of one or two of them, something like that. That's kind of the feeling that I got from it. But also, it just left me with like this serious emptiness where I was like, what just happened?
I like how Jason left the good place. Like he left it, but like just stood there for like whatever years or whatever, waiting for her to come back. He
Yeah,
forgot the bracelet or whatever.
it was like a ring that he made her that he thought he dropped in the woods, but it was in his other pocket.
Yeah. Oh, dip.
He didn't want that squirrel to get it.
I love Jason. He's so funny.
He is. It was a really good cast. I think that it's hard when they kept erasing everybody's memory, kind of trying to redo things because I'm just sitting there like, man, this is feeling like an episode of It's Always Sunny. Like, how are we doing this again?
Yeah, yeah. I think that that's what frustrates me with the show is like makes it not rewatchable. Is season 2 and 3, it's like the same crap, and it's like, I can't do this again. Like,
Yeah, yeah. Also the guy who what Janet made, I think he's in The League. Have you seen The League?
I once upon a time I watched it like a long time ago.
Oh man, I loved that show. I loved that show. It was so good. You didn't have to be good at sports at all.
I only watched it because of Taco, because he had
Oh,
his YouTube channel, and all those videos that he made, like E equals MC vagina or whatever. I don't know if you had seen.
no,
No,
I don't. I
they're
don't even
very
really.
they're very misogynistic videos, and that's what I was into as a 12-year-old kid. I was like, yeah, I'm a badass.
I really enjoyed the show because it was really funny, but I think I was stoned most of the time that I watched it. The main guy, Steve something something something. I saw his comedy uh stand-up comedy show once. It was after like I quit smoking for 9 months or something, and then I started that night, and I was like nodding off because I was so tired and falling asleep laughing at his stand-up. I just remember it was so freaking funny. But that show is really good. It's probably so much worse than I remember it, but it was really good at the time.
I'll have to rewatch it. I think I saw the first season and then I stopped watching it. I'll have to go back and check it out.
Yeah, I don't know that quit, but it was pretty raunchy.
I just one thing I do remember from that show is the was Taco's birthday song for one of the kids. Fuck, how's it go? Where he like
I definitely don't remember whatever song.
basically he's like telling the kid the story of how his parents fucked and made them in like some. Yeah,
Yeah, I
so
think I do recall this. It feels like that might be like one of the very first episode, maybe.
that would make sense. That's all I
Yeah.
remember.
Well, yeah, like Taco wants to have like 1,000-year-old eggs at one point, and then there's something with one of the other guy's children touching something that was absolutely disgusting. He's like, forever unclean. And I think of that whenever my kids do something really gross. I'm like, forever unclean.
Would you say it's as good a show as It's Always Sunny?
I, no, no. I feel like It's Always Sunny is very special.
Yeah, It's Always Sunny is that, and it's still, I can't believe it's still freaking going too. Like 20 seasons or whatever. It's wild.
It is still going. I know that we
Still,
talked about this recently, but I was like, is it ending soon?
I don't think they have any ending in sight. I mean, I guess why? I think they cut it down to like 6 episodes a season now, so it's like not really that much. So I guess it's easier to film and like less time consuming. But I mean, fuck, if I'm getting paid millions to do a show that everyone still loves, fuck, sign me up.
Yeah, and I know there's a lot of people still watching it because I've had people be like, "Oh, did you see the new episode? It's Always Sunny." I'm like, I actually have missed a couple of years for sure. I'm a little behind.
Did you see that story this week that came out that the guy who had been trapped in his stepmother's house for 20 years?
No, what?
So I don't recall what state it was in, but it just happened this past week where a guy, his stepmother locked him in his bedroom for 20 years since he was 11 years old. And he only got out because he set fire to his bedroom to get someone's attention after 20 years. And firemen came and discovered him and got him out, and he's alive, and his stepmother is facing charges. But so he was kept in a single room with no heat, no AC for 20 years. He had no access to a bathroom, and he had to find ways to dispose of his waste, including using a series of straws attached to a window. Uh, and that includes number one and number two, so both poop and pee. He was limited to 2 sandwiches a day, morning and night, and 2 bottles of water every day. He would often like space it out and save it for like days to make it last, but he was limited. And when he actually would eat, eventually his teeth started breaking because he had no dental care for all those years. And the saddest part is, in elementary school in '05, his like friends and teachers noticed how like frail he was, and they called in a welfare check, and the authorities came and checked everything out and did not find anything wrong with how he's being treated. So and when he escaped the house, as of this week, he's 69 pounds,
And how old is he?
31 years old.
So he's been stuck in that room since he was 11.
Yep.
Wow. I don't know how he escaped, but that is a fucking miracle.
Yeah. I mean, it's just crazy. He had like, I mean, good on him to like figure it out, but having to set fire to your bedroom just to get someone's attention to get you out of the
And
house. Like,
why? Why would they even want him still? Like, obviously they're just torturing him. Why not let him free when you're 18? Go.
well, it's also, so it's kind of like a modern day, like, I don't want to say like Snow White because he didn't do anything cleaning wise, but his dad died. And so, like, he was left with his stepmother, and she was like basically the fucking evil queen. Sorry, guys,
Like
I have Snow
Cinderella.
White. Yeah, like Cinderella. And sorry, guys, I have Snow White in my head 24/7. So that's my go to comparison here.
Yeah, no. Or like with the Rapunzel.
Yeah, exactly. So like 20 years stuck in a bedroom, like that's
But yeah, what's
fucking horrible.
the purpose? Let him go live his life. Like, why trap this person in there? You have to know that this has to end eventually, and it's either going to end in he's going to die, or you're going to die and somebody's going to find him, or something like this. Like, something was going to happen to end it finally. Why wouldn't she make that call? What's wrong with this lady?
And she had the audacity to be like, I don't know what happened. I didn't do any of that. Like this is I did not keep him in there for 20 years. Like how like there are signs that he's been this way for a very long time. So like there's no, you can't just be like, "Oh, he's an adult. He did this to himself." Like no, this is 20 years of neglect and abuse.
And when did his dad die?
I think around or maybe like 10 years ago. So I don't know. I
His
don't
dad was
think
there for
his,
half of it, so he doesn't sound like he was even that much better.
so don't quote me on that. I think I'm not sure if his dad was like, if he like stayed around or if he left and then died.
Mm,
But either way, I mean, if he was still alive, you're not seeing your son, and you're like just as, culpable.
yeah, I can't even believe that. Like, what was the freaking purpose? Why are you torturing this kid? And then sit there and gaslight everybody. No, I didn't do that. Somebody else brought those sandwiches in. Kid wasn't locked up.
Somebody else made the kid
How old's
shit
this
through a
lady?
straw.
Is she just like, oh, I'm actually just have no mind left. That's why I'm this person that wanted to torture a kid.
I
69
think,
pounds,
yeah,
31.
31 years old, 69 pounds, like, and he's like five. I think he was like 5'10", so like not a small guy by any means. So like that's pretty malnourished. But I saw that and I was like, holy fucking shit, that's terrifying.
Yeah, I hope he gets all of the help that he needs.
I hope she goes to jail for the rest of her life. Probably not, but
Yeah.
hopefully.
Yeah. Like, at least she deserves 20 years of some sort of punishment. This is ridiculous. And it's been going on longer than that because in 2005, well, that was 20 years ago. So did they just lock him away after that?
Yeah, I'm guessing they locked him after, because so they had the welfare check, and then his parents had the audacity to sue the school for initiating the welfare check, and so they did another welfare check. I think it was like a year later, and still found nothing wrong with what was happening. I'm like, how do you? I don't know if the cops are blind or maybe they just cleaned up the house really well, but like, how do you just let that go on?
Yeah, but still, I can't imagine an 11-year-old child. He couldn't have weighed much more than, or much less than what he weighs now, even. And, like, oh God, my daughter's almost 40 pounds. Like,
Yeah,
I can't even tell you how my son is, but he's got to be getting closer, treading closer. That's insane. They're 4 and 6.
yeah, that is just absolute fucking batshit crazy. But with the state of the country, I'm not at all surprised that happened.
Yeah, I mean, I won't be surprised if nothing happens to her. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, she'll probably just like get off with like a year of community service, whatever. Um, so I figured today I saw this really cool story on TikTok about the Black Hope curse. I had never heard of it. It happened in Texas, but and from there I kind of found a bunch of movies that were actually based on true, well, according to the people it happened to, true stories. So like the Black Hope curse was um the backstory for the TV movie called Grave Secrets: The Legacy of Hilltop Drive. Um, and so it began in 1982 when Sam and Judith Haney moved into their new home in the Newport subdivision in Texas, outside Houston. Not long after moving in, they learned from their neighbors, Ben and Jean Williams, that their house was built on what was once Black Hope Cemetery, a burial ground dating back to the 19th century. The cemetery served as their final resting place for African American slaves and freedmen and had long been abandoned and forgotten as the land was developed. Um, and the discovery got pretty gruesome and shocking when the family of the Haneys decided to excavate their backyard to build a pool. And this was after they were told there was a burial ground back there. So they learned there was a burial ground and were like, hey, let's put a pool in and start digging up their backyard. Um, and those suspicions were confirmed when they discovered wooden coffins containing human remains, later identified as a couple named Betty and Charlie Thomas, who had been buried there decades earlier. Shortly after unearthing the graves, paranormal activity began to plague their household. Initially, the disturbances were pretty small: a strange chill in the air, appliances malfunctioning, unexplained noises, but the occurrences quickly escalated. They reported hearing phantom footsteps, witnessing objects move on their own, and experiencing disembodied voices. The wife, Judith, described being pulled from her bed at night by an unseen force. Their plants died despite there being healthy conditions in the house. Basically, it's like your house. The plants are always dying. Uh,
Yeah, that's my fault.
you can just blame it on a ghost, okay, Steph?
They don't bring me joy.
um, and then financial problems began to plague their family, and similar occurrences began to affect other families in the same neighborhood. So Ben and Jean, the ones that told them about the whole burial ground, um, encountered unexplained water leaks, flickering lights, and loud banging noises throughout their entire home. Uh, Back to the original family, Jean was tormented by terrifying nightmares in which she saw graves and shadowy figures, which left her feeling as if something malevolent was watching them. Not malevolent. I feel like it's just you just pissed off some innocent people who were buried there. I mean, I would do the same thing, you know?
I mean, But what if they were like, okay, so there's graves here. We're going to build a pool so that we can help move them somewhere better? Not their plan? That's what I was hoping their plan was.
I think their plan was like, I think they just figured, oh, it's probably made up, it's BS, and then like instead of looking into the history, because I'm sure like the history books would probably have mentioned that there was a freaking cemetery there. They're just like, let's just. Can you imagine though, like you just like you're in your pool, it's like freshly put in, and it's fine. You're floating along, and then like there's like a crack happens in the foundation, and like bodies start like coming into the pool from like the ground
That
nearby,
sounds like Poltergeist.
like right.
Yeah, that was. I watched that movie way too young. So that was the thing of my original nightmares. Yeah, like the graves,
There's
because they had like the graves with the wood coffins just popping up out of everywhere. The clown under the bed really messed me up. I think I jumped on my bed until high school because it was like that urban legend where like somebody'd hide under your car and cut your Achilles heel. Like I was nervous that somebody's gonna be under my bed and grab my ankle. Yeah, and then the bathtub scene, like, oh man, that was my first nightmare, was like looking into a bath and seeing like hair of a person. Oh, hate it.
mm, oh when I so I used to live with my older brother and his wife back in the day, like 10 years ago. And when they moved out, I was cleaning their bathtub, like snaking the drains, it would like clog up really easily. And my God, we had been the only ones that had lived there. They were brand new units, but like there was so much of her hair, like long black hair. I was like, this is fucking disgusting. I hate cleaning drains out. It's so
I was
gross.
gonna say, how do you know it's not yours?
Right? Initially, I thought it was, my
Yeah, yeah, long black hair sounds matches up.
just like me. Um, so as the paranormal stuff intensified, the consequences became more physical and personal. So Judith's father suffered a fatal heart attack after visiting their property, which the family believed was directly connected to the curse of the house. Tragedy also struck another neighborhood family when a young woman named Carly Williams developed a rare form of cancer and died unexpectedly. Um, and the belief that these were all associated with the curse was strengthened when Lou Gentile, a paranormal investigator brought in to examine the home, claimed the site was plagued by an ancient curse tied to the desecration of the graves. Desperate for answers and relief, Ben and Jean Williams filed a lawsuit against the property developers, alleging they had not disclosed the cemetery's presence. However, because it's Texas, their legal battle proved unsuccessful, and the judge ruled that the developers could not be held responsible for supernatural occurrences or the cemetery's existence. Despite that defeat, the family did eventually move away, but unfortunately, the problems followed them, and the psychological and emotional toll of their experiences endured long after leaving their house. Um, and then today, the Newport subdivision that they lived in still stands, and while reports of paranormal activity have lessened, the Black Hope curse remains an enduring legend in the area. Um, so yeah, that is the Black Hope curse for Black Hope Cemetery.
Yeah, I guess I don't know. What did they do with the bodies?
I threw them in the trash. No,
I know somebody who did something like that.
it was a
Or
gravestone. It was a gravestone.
horrible. Horrible.
I am working in that corner of the yard this week, so I'm sure I might actually dig up some bones at some point as I'm going through there. So if I do, I will. Well, I'll keep them so we can do the whole Crossroads devil deal. I think we need the
You.
dog bone.
You.
No, no, no. This is a we thing. Okay, we're both getting a deal to go to the good timeline. Okay.
Yeah, but I don't know if the Crossroads is our answer. I think that might get us in a little bit in over our head, Just
Maybe.
personal opinion. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if I want to mess with those kind of odds there. It just doesn't sound good.
So this next one is actually something you just mentioned, the Poltergeist. So obviously that's based on a potentially true story. So the Poltergeist film franchise, which began filming in the 80s and came out in 1982, is loosely based on a real life paranormal case known as the Herman House Haunting or the Seaford Poltergeist. The haunting took place in 1958 in Seaford, New York, and involved the Herman family, James and Lucille, and their children, James Jr. and Lucille.
Junior?
Wait, they named their kids both Lucille and James, and their names are also James and Lucille? That's
Is it
so
for
weird.
real? Yeah, I don't. Is
Hold
it
on,
for
I'm gonna
real?
look this up.
Like, this is important. We have to. Although the
Is
last
that
time I tried to
really?
Google something, it said reconnecting. So,
That is.
no.
Hold on, let me make sure here. Yeah, that's crazy. James and Lucille named their children Lucille and James. That's weird. That's so weird. I've never
Yeah.
heard of
Well,
that.
okay. I have an Uncle Todd who's married to my Aunt Tammy. And then later on in life, we found out that my Uncle Todd had a son, and his name's Todd Jr. We didn't find out about him for a really long time. But his first wife was named Tammy. I always thought that was so weird. It's like Todd and Tammy, Todd Jr. and Tammy.
That is so weird. I've literally never. This is the first two occurrences I've ever heard of that happening.
It's like Parks and Rec. Tammy number 1, Tammy number 2. And my mom's name is Tamara.
So wait, hold on. So if let me ask you a question then. If let's just say some guy had a kid, right?
Mm-hmm.
He like got married, had a kid, and they named their kid John Jr. And then he went off and had an affair, and Nate had a kid, and he named that kid also John. Which one? Like, if both go by John Jr., which one is really the junior? Like,
They're both the junior. They're both John Jr. That dad's a prick. That's
that
all I
dad's a
got.
prick in this
Yeah.
fictional scenario.
Yes. Well, it's probably happened.
Yeah,
Like
yeah. I mean,
the
the odds
odds.
are pretty high.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm sure there's multiple juniors out there. People are ridiculous.
So, James Jr. and Lucille Jr. Apparently, okay. So the disturbances began in February 1958 when the family noticed that bottles of various household products would pop open and spill their contents, despite being securely sealed. I'm not laughing because of this story, but like, I just saw this meme earlier. I forgot to tell you to send to you. You know how I think Logan Paul or is it Jake Paul? Whoever does the fucking UFC fighting, one of
I think
them,
it's
Jake. Uh, there was someone made a meme. It was like a picture of Jake Paul in a ring with Gene Hackman next to him, and Jake Paul saying the fight's still on.
I thought you were gonna bring up I saw a TikTok video today and this guy was like, I just watched a video of somebody who said that they measure out laundry detergent in the cap and then just throw the cap in the wash. So are you from the timeline that this is a thing, or are you from the timeline that this is not a thing?
Hey, which one do you do?
Okay, so I didn't know about the cap thing until the last few years. And I used to do that, but now I have a washer that you just dump the laundry detergent in, and then it like siphons it out for each load. So I don't do anything.
Wait, hold on, back it up. So you, in your washing machine, you dump the whole bottle of detergent?
No, it just has like a tank for the detergent,
Oh,
so
okay.
you just fill that up, and then you can adjust it if it's like auto or needs more or less, or you can turn it off and then put your own detergent in. But I don't do that.
That okay, first of all, that's pretty cool. That's perfectly up my alley of my laziness. Like I just dump a bunch of, but so before that you had that, were you a the cup person dumping the cup in and then throwing the cup in?
Before I used to uh measure it out in the cup, dump it in, and then just throw that on top of the detergent. Um, and then my kid's dad got me to do the put it in the cup and then throw it in the wash because the wash cleans it. But the guy had a fair point where he was like, you just leave your laundry soap just like naked there without a cap on. And it's like, yeah, I guess I did.
Okay, well, joke's on him. I have a collection of caps down there. I just replaced the cap on top.
I have a collection of caps.
I always forget to throw them away. I'm like, I just have like probably 10 sitting in the cabinet that I need to throw away. But like, I'll just like replace it. I'm like, here we go. That's capped. And then,
Yeah, I guess I was using like the Kirkland brand, like the big jug of it. And so when I was taking the cap and filling it, I was pressing the little nozzle like a water thing for your fridge. And then I was just throwing that all in there. But I think I did come from the timeline that we didn't do that. I've learned this in the last couple of years, and it was definitely in one of these hellscape timelines, like for sure. It's probably where I went wrong.
so before, okay, also one last question. Before you got this fancy new washing machine and you measured out like the rest of us peasants, did you pay attention to the lines on the cap, or did you, like me, just fill it up all the way to the top?
I mean, okay, so it had like 3 lines, and it's like the little load, the medium load, the large load. I filled it a little above the large load. Yeah, every time. But now I do like either the auto or regular amounts of detergent, and then I throw in the beads every time. So that's how I know that like everything's coming out fresh.
Yeah, I fill it way past that line. I have trust issues that go way back. So I'm like, I don't believe my trust issues go so far back, Steph, that if I'm turning on to a one-way road, I look both ways.
I mean, that's smart, honestly. You never know these days. Some messed up shit's going on in this world.
Yes, 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 yes. So yeah, I'm the dump the cup in the wash machine and replace it with the fresh one from my collection kind of person.
I've
I'm a
done that in the
psycho.
last few years, and but honestly, like that probably is where things went wrong. I'm gonna
So are
blame it
you
on that.
you get
Yeah.
um okay, so before I got us sidetracked here, they had bottles that would pop open and spill. Despite, according to them, the bottles being properly securely sealed. Um, as time went on, the activity intensified. Objects reportedly moved on their own. Furniture shifted, and loud, unexplained banging noises echoed throughout the home. The family initially was skeptical and suspected pranks being the cause of all this crap, but eventually contacted the police, and the detective investigated it but had found no evidence of hoaxes or external interference. And from there, the media quickly picked up the story and drew the attention from the public and the paranormal experts. So the case attracted the interest of Dr. J.B. Ryan, who was a leading parapsychologist from Duke University, who visited the home to study the disturbances and speculated that the poltergeist activity might be linked to the psychic energy of the two adolescent children, particularly Lucille, as poltergeist phenomena are often associated with emotional stress in young people. So naturally, just blaming the
Little
female, the
girl.
woman, the little girl, not even a
Yeah,
full
that's
grown.
yeah. Well, she's got a lot of emotional distress because she has the same fucking name as her parents. I would be distressed too, you know?
What if her middle name is James? It's Lucille James Herman, and her brother is James Lucille Herman.
It would not surprise me. They don't sound very creative. Of course they would. I mean, but also James is a really cute middle name for a girl.
That is true.
I'm like, sorry, that just, I'm like, that dawned on me. You know what? I take that back. Now I hope that's her middle name.
um, so he believed that the disturbances stem from psychokinetic energy rather than a traditional haunting. Um, Despite the attention and subsequent investigations, the activity mysteriously ceased in March 1958, and the family resumed normal life. Although the case remains unexplained, it became the foundational inspiration for the Poltergeist films. And as we discussed before, the Poltergeist films have a known curse on them where a series of people died who were associated with the movie, the series, I guess. Um, the one who played Heather O'Rourke, I'm sorry, the actor Heather O'Rourke, in 1988, at the age of 12, he died from septic shock caused by a misdiagnosed intestinal condition just before the release of Poltergeist 3. Um, Dominique Dunn, who portrayed Dana Freeling in the first film, in 1982, she was murdered by her ex boyfriend in her driveway at the age of 22. Um, and then the person who played Reverend Kane in Poltergeist 2 died of stomach cancer in 1985 before the film was released. And then Will Simpson, the actor who played Taylor in the same film, died at 53 in 87 from complications related to a heart lung transplant. I feel like that one's not really a curse because I mean, honestly, if you are getting a heart and lung transplant, that's super high risk,
Yeah, you're probably lucky to make it up the list.
right?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that sounds terrible, but
um,
yeah, I mean, I heard that they, and maybe I heard that here, but I heard that they used the real skeletons because they were cheaper back then.
yeah, because they were cheaper and fake skeletons are just harder to make, which is like I said, I would be open to having my skeleton if I wasn't cremated. Have my skeleton uh, in a film, in a cinematic experience at post death.
Yeah, I would too. Like, I don't need it.
Yeah, I'll put that in my will. I'll say before you cremate me, just put me in the backdrop of some like take me to Hollywood, like do a what's that fucking famous movie where their uncle is dead. They're like,
Weekend at Bernie's.
yeah, do a weekend at Bernie's thing. Take me to Hollywood and like make me seem like I'm alive, and then stick me in the backdrop of a film.
Hell yeah. Let's Weekend at Bernie's it. That sounds like so much fun. I loved that movie as a kid.
I didn't watch it as a kid. I thought it was too disturbing. They dragged this poor dead man, cursing his body. I was
I
a weird
don't even
kid.
remember what the premise of the movie really was. I just thought he had good vibes. But I really, really liked Chucky too. And like I said, I watched Poltergeist way too young. So I don't think that there were any real rules.
So is that why you don't watch horror now? Because you watched them when you were too young and got exposed too young to them?
I don't know. I was talking to my kid's dad yesterday, and he was like, "It's really cool you're doing the podcast. We used to watch a lot of horror movies together." And I was like, "Did we?" Yeah. He's like, "Well, you've always been into like horror stuff," and I'm like, "Well, yeah, I used to listen to scary podcasts all the time to fall asleep." I told you somebody said that they did that, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I was dumbfounded. I was like, "Somebody else like me? What?" But yeah. Um, Yeah. I'm like, well, I've definitely done that, but I've kind of always been a scaredy cat. Like, I used to go see horror movies with my cousins growing up, and I liked watching it with them. I wanted to make sure that I kept getting invited, but I was scared. Like, I wore my hoodie over my head with the like pull the string, so it's just like I can see it. Also, while we're doing this, I'm coloring.
Ah, is that Ryan Gosling?
It sure is.
Nice.
Yeah. Yes, it's Ryan Gosling.
I love it. So the next one is Annabelle, um, from the movie Annabelle.
No way.
And yep, and right, Annabelle from the film. What's that? What was that doll that the Australian doll? Let Me Out. Oh fuck, is it
Oh
Letta?
yeah, I think
Let.
it's Letta.
Oh my god, now let me out, let me out. It's actually Annabelle. That's where she's from. Letta the doll, the film.
Oh, okay. Letting me out. Letting
Um,
me out. I forgot about her.
let me out. Yeah, your Australian accent was impeccable. Let me
Oh, thank
out.
you, thank you. I learned from the best.
So Annabelle, so in the film, she's a creepy ass doll, a fucking like just spooky ass motherfucker. But in real life, she was a Raggedy Ann doll, so kind of creepy, but like not nearly as creepy as the doll in the film. Um, so
Are
the
you
real
kidding me? I
Annabelle,
think Raggedy Anns are so scary.
yeah, but like you've seen the actual Annabelle doll from like the movie, right?
No,
Like
I
that
sure
one's
haven't.
if your phone is working, look it up because that's way creepier than a Raggedy Ann doll.
Okay,
Um,
because I had an ex-boyfriend when, like,
who had a Raggedy
my
Ann doll?
well, his mom did in the basement, and man, were they scary. Like, you'd round the corner, you'd see them, and be like, go up the stairs as fast as possible. Yeah. No, she had two of them, and they were big. They were big, and I swear they changed looks. Like there was one time they looked a certain way, and there was another time that they looked totally different, and I did not like that.
When we bought this house, when we toured it for the first time, the previous owner, obviously their stuff was still here, but there was like a shit ton of dolls. I'll have to send you a picture from the listing, but there was like so many dolls, hundreds of dolls around the house. And initially, I was like, I am not buying this house because these fucking dolls are creepy as hell. And it's probably haunted, and I was right. It is haunted.
Yeah, but it's
Probably
because of the dog.
the fucking dog. How could be the dolls though? Maybe the dolls did like kill the dog.
Okay, you're right. That doll is scary as hell. But honestly, looking at the real one, also scary. Just saying.
So So the real doll was a gift given to Donna, a student nurse, by her mother for her birthday. Notably, the doll was purchased secondhand from a hobby store. And at the time, Donna was living with her roommate, Angie, and was initially thrilled with the present. However, that soon turned to fear as strange occurrences began to happen in their house. At first, the doll's movements were very subtle, small changes in the position that could easily get missed. For instance, the doll would be found on the floor instead of the chair. The girls assumed that time that it had just fallen due to just falling and nothing else. But as time passed, the movements became more pronounced. Annabelle would appear in different rooms, such as on the couch instead of Donna's bed, or even outside Angie's bedroom, um, shortly after being placed in Donna's room. And Donna and Angie's friend Lou was particularly uneasy about the doll. He believed Annabelle was either possessed or harboring something evil. Yet, despite his concerns, Donna and Angie remained skeptical, attributing the movements to their own actions or coincidences. Uh, Everything escalated when the girls started discovering mysterious notes scattered around their apartment. The notes, written on parchment paper, um, something that neither girl uh, owned, contained unsettling messages like "Help Lou" and "Help us." The most chilling incident occurred when Donna returned home to find the doll in its usual place on her bed, but with what appeared to be blood on its hands. The origin of the red liquid was unknown, but it seemed to be seeping from the doll itself. Alarmed, Donna and Angie decided to seek help from a medium. The first medium who investigated revealed a tragic backstory. According to her, the apartment complex had been built on land that was once an open field. Many years before, the body of a 7-year-old girl named Annabelle had been discovered there. The spirit of the child, drawn to the doll, had merged with it. Moved by this story, Donna and Angie felt compassion for the lost child and allowed the doll to remain in their home. First mistake.
Yeah, for
However,
real.
Lou's experiences with Annabelle grew more and more terrifying. One night, while spending time with Angie, Lou heard strange noises coming from Donna's bedroom. Inve- Investigating the sound, he found the doll sitting on a chair instead of its usual place on the bed. As he approached, an overwhelming sense of dread washed over him, followed by a sharp pain in his chest. Upon inspection, Lou discovered deep claw like scratches on his skin, which then healed rapidly and vanished within 2 days. Um, this prompted the women to reach out to Ed and Lorraine Warren, who were pretty well known paranormal investigators. When they arrived, they determined the spirit attached to the doll was not that of a child, but a demonic entity seeking to possess Donna's soul. Hell yeah. Contrary to popular belief, demons do not inhabit objects but use them as a conduit to reach people. With the help of a priest, the Warrens performed an exorcism on the apartment to cleanse it of the malevolent presence, and then took Annabelle into their care to prevent further harm. Um, but the Warrens, during their drive home, their car suffered repeated mechanical failures, including issues with the power steering, brakes, and engine. And the problem only subsided after Ed doused the doll with holy water. Once home, Ed placed Annabelle on his desk, where she reportedly levitated several times before eventually settling down. Despite the decrease in activity, the doll continued to move on its own, independently between different rooms in their house. Um, Hold on, I lost my spot here. Hold on. A visiting priest dismissed the doll's power, claiming it could not harm him because it was just a doll. On his way home, the priest was involved in a serious car accident that totaled his vehicle, but somehow he managed to survive. Today, Annabelle remains secured in a locked glass case within the Warrens Occult Museum. The case is marked with a warning label reading "Do not touch."
Yeah, because that stops people. That
The,
doesn't make anybody want to touch it.
the visitors claim to have seen the doll move within the case. Um, how does a doll not like? How does a glass case keep a demon in?
That's what I was wondering. How? Just glass? That's it? I have a bunch
Just
of
glass.
sage. Do they seal it with sage or something?
Um. So I get according to them because it's adorned with a cross, which apparently keeps the malevolent force inside the glass case. I don't know though. Like I've seen Supernatural. You actually have a devil's trap. That doll can get out of there.
Yeah. Yeah. But also, if a cross can keep demons at bay, does that mean that if you if you're kind of a demon and you wear a cross, are you at bay? I don't know. I don't know what I'm trying to ask.
What
But I'm like,
demon
so
wearing
if
cross?
I wear a cross, will I be good? Like, it will just like, oh, all of a sudden, oh, okay, Stephanie's normal. She's stable.
I feel like the rules
Worth a shot.
change all the time.
That's fair. Because, like, it's worth a shot. I'm sure there's one of them around here somewhere.
You just get like a cross tattooed on your arm so you can't be possessed.
Yeah, it's like, why'd you decide to do this? Well, I didn't want to be possessed. I just thought that it'd make me more normal. It's gonna be like a sedative or something.
More normal. Um the last one we're going to talk about today is The Haunting in Connecticut, which was a movie that I saw as a kid, and I think it was the most disturbing one because like the family lived in um a former funeral home, which was always creepy to me. Like I to this day I hate funerals. They scare me to death. I mean, obviously, pun intended, but like I cannot stand funeral homes. They just like creep me the fuck out.
Yeah, my grandpa, when I was a baby, the house that he lived at was a former funeral home.
I remember you saying that once.
Yeah, yeah. I have, well, most of my life I've had pretty vivid dreams about that place. It's pretty intense. But yeah, also a little bit magical. But when I think of that, I think of my girl because they lived in a funeral home.
Mm,
And that does make me feel like really creeped out. And also, I share the same sentiments about like funerals. I'm not good with funerals. I can't tell you how many I've gotten dressed for and just like couldn't go to.
yeah,
I just,
I'm not a fan.
yep, nope, nope, not a fan at all. I just don't have a super great relationship with death. I don't know how to work through that. Anybody has any tips or tricks? How do you have a better relationship with it? Because I just don't understand.
Yeah, I feel like I'm the same way. Like when my aunt died when I was like 10 or 8, I remember going to her funeral, and I remember it being a pretty big funeral home because it was in Baltimore, and I recall like walking past and seeing someone else's dead body, and I was like, it just creeped me the fuck out. Like ever since then, so I do not. Maybe I should
Yeah.
talk to my therapist.
Yeah, I'm like, maybe I should talk to my therapist about it. Because, yeah, like, I went to a funeral when I was, like, 12. And I remember they did the, like, 21 gun salute. And that was kind of crazy. And then I remember a funeral from when I was, like, 8 or 9. And that, I don't even know what was going on at that funeral, but I was just so creeped out being there. Like, I remember mostly like the lighting of the room and the layout of like the church, but I was so creeped out being there. And then my great grandma, when she passed, we all went to the funeral home and we just sat in a circle for like 10 minutes chatting. And then we were like, well, this has been great, but let's get out of here. Like, this is not our thing. And then, like, my grandma and grandpa, we never even did anything. Like, their ashes are still on a shelf in the living room, and we never, like, had a funeral or a celebration of life. Like, I don't think any of us knew how to even go about that.
Yeah.
Plus, grandma said, don't bury your money, so.
Don't, aren't this the same remains that your uncle jokes about, like, putting on the Buy Nothing group?
Yes, putting them on the Buy Nothing to get rid of them because he doesn't want them. That is a terrible... Yeah, so we have my grandparents there, and then we have, like, 2 cats that have passed away this year that were cremated, and they're up on the shelf. And one of our dogs, it sounds like she's, like, on her way out. She's really up there. She's, like, a beagle mix, and I think she's, like, 17 years old. But,
Damn.
yeah, she's, like, pretty labored breathing. So I'm like, oh, no, we're probably going to have another set of ashes up there. He's probably going to nick somebody. I wonder who's going to get the boot. It sounds terrible.
They better be one of the cats.
Well, I told him that because ashes solidify after like moisture gets in there and stuff, and so I was like, I bet if you opened up grandma and grandpa, they'd be like solid blocks. And when I was 25, okay, when I was like 4 for Easter, the Easter bunny brought me a playhouse. And for my 25th birthday, I went to Sasquatch, a big music festival at the Gorge. It was so much fun, but I came back and my playhouse is gone. And my uncle was like, trash it. And so I told him I'm going to use the ashes of my family members to rebuild that playhouse.
That's pretty dark.
Yeah, it is. I also, during COVID, that same playhouse, people were posting on the internet and they were like, studio apartment, $2,000 a month. And every single time I saw that, I would send it to my uncle and be like, look at what you're missing out on. Or like when I had my kids, I was like, see, I told you that there was going to be kids someday. Just took like another 5 years.
I thought you were going to say during COVID, you start going around asking people for their loved ones' remains so you could keep them, make them blocks. Like, goddamn stuff.
Nice and easy. No, but also pre-COVID, the house I lived at right before it, my next door neighbor had the same playhouse, and I would take pictures of it randomly and send it to my uncle. Remember this?
Oh.
I don't let things go, unfortunately.
No, I wouldn't expect nothing less, Steph.
Thank you. Yeah, I still won't. I should send him a picture of the playhouse. I guess what I talked about today.
Just send the recording.
Yeah.
Okay, so The Haunting in Connecticut. The true story behind The Haunting in Connecticut revolves around the Snedeker family. After they moved into a former funeral home in Southington, Connecticut in 1986. The parents, Carmen and Alan Snedeker, along with their 3 children and a niece, relocated to 208 Meridian Avenue to be closer to the University of Connecticut Hospital, where their eldest son, Philip, was undergoing treatment for Hodgkin's lymphoma. The spacious home seemed ideal for their large family, but they just soon discovered its dark past, which had been previously operated as the Hallahan Funeral Home. In the basement, which became the bedroom for Philip and his brother, they found embalming equipment and a casket display room left behind. And despite finding that, they stayed in the home due to obviously financial constraints and the home's convenient location. But Shortly after moving in, strange occurrences began to plague the house. Philip was the first to experience disturbing phenomena, which included visions of shadowy figures and men in dark suits. His behavior became increasingly erratic, aggressive, and withdrawn, leading to his eventual diagnosis as schizophrenic and removal from the home for psychiatric care. Um, Other family members soon experienced chilling events as well, uh, hearing mysterious voices and footsteps, encountering foul odors, which resembled, according to them, I don't know how they would know this, decaying flesh, um, and witnessing objects moving on their own. Carmen claimed that unseen forces touched or slapped her, and in some instances sexually assaulted her. The family also described seeing ghostly apparitions, including demonic figures with hollow eyes and skeletal faces. Uh, Things escalated to the point where Philip's bed would vibrate and even lift off the ground. Desperate for help, they contacted our favorite people in the world, Ed and Lorraine Warren. Um, at that time, renowned investigators known for their work on the Amityville horror case, which has since come out as being fake, by the way.
Oh,
Um,
fun.
yeah. After investigating the home, the Warrens concluded the house was infested with demonic entities. They theorized that the emotional energy from the funeral home's past had created a spiritual gateway that attracted malevolent forces. The Warrens believed these entities were attempting to possess Philip, who was particularly vulnerable due to his illness. With the help of a Catholic priest, the Warrens performed an exorcism to cleanse the home, and following the ritual, the Seneca family reported the paranormal activity ceased, and they eventually moved out in 1988. Philip recovered from his illness, and they went on to live their normal life. There is a lot of skepticism around the case. Ray Garton, the author of In a Dark Place, a book based on the Warrens' investigation, claimed the family's accounts were inconsistent and contradictory. Um, when he raised concerns, Lorraine Warren allegedly told him to make it up and make it scary. Some skeptics argue that the family's experiences could be explained by psychological factors, including the stress of Philip's illness and the emotional toll it took on the household. Um, Others point to the lack of physical evidence and the fact that later tenants of the home did not report any ghosts or paranormal activity. But that was the basis of their story, was the basis of the Haunting in Connecticut film from 2009, which was a great movie. Very scary, as I said before. Very spooky.
Uh, was Philip the one they put in the basement?
Yep. And his brother.
They put the sick kid in the basement
Like, hey man, you're close to
where they
death.
found
Why don't you
the
look at.
embalming stuff and whatnot.
Yep. They were like, look, man, you're close to death, so let's like give you a bird's eye view of what you're going to be looking at in a few years.
Yeah,
Prepping you.
man, if I was his parents, I'd feel so freaking guilty. He's already going through so much, and then I put him in the fucking basement. And if I was that kid, I'd be like, there's no goddamn way I'm going in that basement.
Yeah. What's the only thing worse than living in a funeral home? Living in the basement of a funeral home. Because that's where all the dead bodies, I mean, dead bodies were there and upstairs, but like, put them on the third floor. There are no dead bodies up on the third floor.
Yeah, I'd be like, I will sleep in the kitchen. I will be in the living room on the couch every single night. How dare you? How dare you put me in the basement?
Nobody puts Steff in the basement.
Never. Never. I'm one of those people that is like, if you're going up the stairs and you feel like demons following you, you just start running. Yep. I
Because the
mean, I'm not
demons can't fly.
I'm not as well. No, I'm faster than demons.
You're
What kind of dumb question is that, Holden? Duh, I'm
you
faster than demons.
you trained your whole life to outrun demons.
I save my running explicitly for demons.
That's how you train for like your marathons. You're like, I'm gonna be chased by a demon in my mind.
I save all of my running just in case a demon chases me. I don't train.
You don't. Oh, cool. That is our episode for today, guys. We are having a future episode around cults again. I'm hoping to get some more people reaching out. So if you have been in a cult, you've witnessed a cult, um, hit us up on the TikTok or YouTube and let us know, because we would love to hear your story. We'll be very respectful. We're not going to trash talk you. Won't make fun of you. We have someone coming on to talk about Mormonism and that cult
I
in
saw that
April.
one. Awesome.
Yeah, so
That's the comment that I saw when somebody was like, "Does Mormonism count?" Hell
like,
yeah.
hell yeah, it does. I would love a former Jehovah's Witness, but they're hard to come by. I'm sure the Jehovah's Witnesses probably like kill their ex members.
I mean,
Maybe.
probably.
Did I tell you
Probably.
that like 2 doors down we have some
That's how far I got with Ryan Gosling.
2 doors down we have some weird ass Christians in the neighborhood, and like we took our daughter there, go trick or treating this past year, and they were like, we don't celebrate, but here's some vegetables from our garden.
Interesting. What vegetables were they harvesting in October?
I think it was squash, and I think arugula, I want to say.
Thanks a lot for the worst vegetable. Squash is like up there. Up
they
there with the worst.
they also invited us to a summer social, ice cream social in the driveway, and I was like, nah, I'm good. I'm busy that day. I'm not getting recruited for your fucking cult.
Yeah, it's not worth it for the ice cream, man. I can get my own ice cream.
Right? It's probably like store brand, like ugh.
Yeah, I'm gonna get there and it's just gonna be freaking popsicles.
Yeah, oh, gross. Well, thanks everyone, and we will see you guys next week.
Bye.